Once upon a time, in a distant land in the southern part of Nigeria, there was a village called Akami. In this village lived a poor widow with her 3 daughters, Dem, Memb, and Pem. Among the sisters, Pem was the most beautiful and the youngest. She was her mother's favorite and loved by everyone in the village. Pem's beauty was so extraordinary that people often said she must have created herself. But Pem was not only beautiful, she was also kind-hearted and intelligent, the perfect example of beauty with brains. Pem's beauty and kind nature made her the talk of the village. Young men who initially sought her sister's hands in marriage quickly changed their minds upon seeing Pem. They declared their intentions for Pem instead, leaving Dem and Memb feeling overshadowed and unwanted. Pem's charm and grace captivated everyone, causing her sisters to grow increasingly jealous and angry. Driven by jealousy, Dem and Memb began to plot against Pem. They tried to poison her food multiple times, but their efforts failed. They even placed deadly scorpions in her bed, but the scorpions were mysteriously found dead. Their frustration led them to seek diabolical means to get rid of Pem. Desperate, Dem and Memb consulted an old mystical woman who concocted a potent charm, 10 times more poisonous than a viper's venom. Despite their efforts, the charm had no effect on Pem. Her sisters' hatred grew as they failed repeatedly to harm her. One morning, Dem devised a new plan. She suggested to Memb that they sell Pem to the wealthy merchants who came to their village to trade. Agreeing to the plan, they forcefully sold Pem to the merchants. Little did they know, they were sending her to her destiny. Pem arrived in a distant village called Owo, far from her home in Akami. Despite the betrayal and distance, Pem remained hopeful and spirited, believing that all would be well. She became a maid in her new master's household, dedicating herself fully to her work despite being mistreated. Back in Akami, Pem's mother was heartbroken and worried about her missing daughter. She searched the village endlessly but to no avail. The poor widow eventually died of depression, cursing those responsible for Pem's disappearance to a life of loneliness and suffering. In Owo, the king had recently passed away, and the crowned prince was to be crowned the new king. However, he needed to marry first. The kingmakers announced a contest to find the next queen, testing maidens on their beauty, kindness, compassion, and cooking skills. Pem's fellow maids encouraged her to participate, knowing she fit all the criteria. On the day of the contest, maidens dressed in their finest cultural attire. They presented themselves before the crowned prince and the kingmakers, showcasing their beauty. Although all the maidens were beautiful, Pem's grace and charm stood out. The next challenge was cooking. The maidens were given a list of traditional foods to prepare and the necessary ingredients. They had to fetch water from the river to begin cooking. At the river, an old woman pleaded for help in fetching water. All the maidens ignored her except for Pem. Pem approached the old woman with a smile and offered to fetch water for her. She not only fetched the water but also carried the pot to the woman's hut. The old woman thanked Pem and whispered a few words into her ear, blessing her for her kindness. Back at the contest, most maidens had nearly finished cooking. Pem had time to prepare only one dish, but she did it exceptionally well. The prince and kingmakers tasted each maiden's food. The prince, given the final choice, selected his favorite dish, Pem's. The prince asked Pem how she knew his favorite dish. Pem explained about the old woman by the river who had told her. Unknown to the maidens, the old woman was the queen mother, testing their kindness and compassion. The old woman by the river was the queen mother in disguise. She and the kingmakers used the test to find a maiden kind and compassionate enough to rule alongside the prince. All the maidens except Pem had failed this crucial test. Pem's kindness and beauty won the prince's heart. She was crowned queen alongside the new king. Her journey from a humble maid to the Queen of Owo was complete, and she was loved and respected by all, including her former master and his family, who were now her subjects. Back in Akami, there was famine in the village, Food was scarce to the point that even the rich could not buy food because there was no food to buy, forcing the villagers to seek refuge in the neighboring villages. Dem and Memb were among those who sought for asylum in one of the neighboring village, unaware that it was Owo, where their sister was now queen. Dem and Memb arrived at a refugee camp in Owo, seeking help. Pem, now the queen, recognized her sisters immediately, though they did not recognize her. She decided to help them, despite their past actions. Pem, filled with compassion, invited her sisters to the palace. She revealed her identity, and her sisters, gripped with fear and shame, begged for forgiveness. Pem, being kind-hearted, embraced them and introduced them to the king as her family. The king, pleased to meet his queen's family, offered Dem and Memb a home and food supplies from the palace. Pem's kindness and compassion were once again evident as she ensured her sisters were well taken care of, despite their past betrayal. Pem asked about their mother and was heartbroken to learn of her death. Dem recounted the mother's tireless search for Pem and the curse she placed before her demise. Pem mourned deeply for her mother, feeling the weight of her loss. Despite the sorrow, Pem focused on her new responsibilities as queen. She initiated various charitable projects, helping the poor and improving the lives of her subjects. Her reign was marked by kindness and prosperity. Dem and Memb, inspired by Pem's kindness, sought to redeem themselves. They began to assist Pem in her charitable works, learning the value of compassion and selflessness. Over time, they earned the respect and forgiveness of the villagers. Pem formed a council of wise and trusted advisors, including her sisters. Together, they made decisions that benefited the kingdom, ensuring fairness and justice. The council meetings were a testament to Pem's inclusive leadership. To celebrate the newfound peace and prosperity, Pem organized a grand festival of unity. The event brought together people from various villages, fostering harmony and cultural exchange. The festival was a resounding success, showcasing Owo's vibrant culture. One day, a mysterious visitor arrived in Owo, seeking an audience with the queen. The visitor brought news of a hidden treasure linked to Pem's ancestry. Intrigued, Pem decided to investigate, hoping it could further help her people. Guided by the visitor, Pem and her trusted advisors embarked on a journey to uncover the hidden treasure. They faced numerous challenges, but Pem's leadership and courage led them through. Eventually, they discovered a trove of riches and ancient artifacts. The hidden treasure brought immense wealth to Owo. Pem used the riches to build schools, hospitals, and infrastructure, ensuring the kingdom's prosperity for generations. Her wise and generous use of the treasure earned her even greater respect. With the kingdom flourishing, peace returned to Owo. Pem's reign was celebrated as a golden era, marked by kindness, prosperity, and unity. The people of Owo loved and revered their queen, whose journey from a humble village girl to a powerful queen was legendary. Pem's legacy of kindness and compassion continued to inspire future generations. Her story was told and retold, becoming a timeless legend. The kingdom of Owo thrived, built on the principles of love, fairness, and generosity. Pem's name became synonymous with goodness and leadership. She ruled with grace until the end of her days, leaving behind a legacy that would be cherished forever. The story of Pem, the eternal Queen of Owo, is a testament to the power of kindness and resilience.